What's brewing, coffee lovers? Welcome to the Caffeine Show. This week I have a piece on Uppers and Downers event which happened last Saturday in Hackney Wick. We have a few things to say about the SCA's decision to pull all world coffee competitions out of Gulf Host in Dubai this September, and we can reveal the winners of our coffee boxes competition. So first out of the gate is some still breaking news that the Specialty Coffee Association has come to an agreement with the Dubai World Trade Center to move the 2018 World Brewers Cup, World Cup Tasters Championship and the World Coffee Roasting Championship events from Dubai to another location this year. Now, if you're not aware, this story goes back to September 2016 when the SCA announced that it had awarded Dubai 3 coffee competition finals. And the initial backlash from the coffee community was pretty fierce. A day after they were made aware by Sprudge of accusations of slave labour and abuses towards LGBTQ community, it was all put on hold and all further plans were under review. Now, 8 months on from the initial backlash, the SCA has reversed its decision to hold the events in Dubai. However, the payoff for this is to launch an annual World of Coffee Dubai trade show within the Gulf Host show beginning in March 2020. Now, this event will run in addition to the SCA's annual World of Coffee show in Europe. And from this, we can see that the SCA is now moving towards greater integration with the Middle East. And it'll be interesting to see if SCA members still have concerns about these events as well. Now, just in, as we were filming this segment, we learned that the World Brewers Cup and Cup Tasters events have now been confirmed that they're being moved to Brazil. And they're going to be joining the World Latte Art Championships and the World Coffee and Good Spirits Championships at their International Coffee Week. However, as of filming, we still have no announcement yet as to the fate of the Roasting Championship. If we find out any more, we'll let you know as soon as we can. But do check Twitter if you want to be kept up to date in real time. We can now reveal the winners of our big box of coffee prize draw. We asked you to help us out a couple of weeks ago with some research on how you saw the various caffeine channels. What you liked, what you didn't like, and we're still poring over that data, but in the meantime we have gone through those and randomly selected Jim Emery, Zamalo Literek and Oscar Baker as our 3 winners. And their coffee is in the mail as we speak, along with their Department of Brewology poster that they have decided to choose. We hope you enjoy it, and maybe you can have your own cupping with your friends. Find out in the next issue what roaster beat them all to win the Seasonal Coffee Award. One of the coffees that weren't in that box was the Mutungati AB from Kenya by Extract Coffee Roasters, and this is a coffee that I personally have been enjoying, and thankfully it seems the Kenyans this year are much better than the rather disappointing crop that I tasted last year. This is really sharp and acidic. There's that clementine, lemon, grapefruit acidity that I really enjoy with these sort of Kenyan coffees. There is those sort of tastes of blackcurrant in there as well, but I don't see that quite so much. Now, I also want to show you this little set that we've been sent by Loveramics, and it's a specialty jug and tasting cups. And they come as a threesome. And what they do is that they highlight certain characteristics of a coffee. Now, if you want something which is more of the nutty and sort of earthy tones, then this one here with the slightly barreled sides is the one to use, or the one that will highlight those sort of aromas. If you're looking for something which highlights more sweetness, then this one with the straight sides is the one. These are little 150 gram cups. So what's really interesting, what we've been doing is brewing up the same coffee and then pouring it into each and seeing if you can taste that difference. See if these cups actually make a difference. Now, there is a third cup which is more open, which accentuates the floral notes. But I've got to say, the few times that we have used these cups, we have noticed a difference. So keep in mind that as much as the coffee you're drinking and the way you're brewing it, the cups you're using also influence how you experience that coffee. Well done, Loveramics. I don't know if these are available in the UK quite yet, but when you see them, I really suggest you try and get hold of them. They make for a really interesting experience. We're still offering £10 off all our Department of Brewology prints like this one here, along with subscriptions to Caffeine magazine and our range of t-shirts. These are some of the best ways that you can support this channel. If you'd like to get your hands on one of these fine prints, then hop over to the web shop, caffeinemag.com/shop, where we'll give you £10 off any print with the coupon code YT10. And this is available on as many prints as you like, and this offer will be open for one more week only until Sunday the 3rd of June. Lastly, Phil and I went to Uppers and Downers in Hackney Wick last weekend, and we had a wonderful afternoon tasting a whole range of coffee beers. Now, these are all collaborations between some of the best UK roasters and craft brewers, and we managed to sit down with co-founder Michael Kiser and have a little chat about the event.
So, like a lot of things we do, they're kind of started over a conversation or a question about something or a curiosity. Coming from the beer world, I certainly knew that things, coffee beers existed, and some of the best ones were coming out of the Chicago area. Bourbon County Stout from Goose Island, Dark Lord from Three Floyds just down the road. They were maybe two of the more famous coffee beers. They were just gigantic imperial barrel-aged stouts that had coffee in them. Yeah. And they were fine. Stephen Morrissey, they were sought after by thousands of people. But Stephen Morrissey, who was at Intelligentsia at the time, which is also based in Chicago, we're having drinks at a cocktail bar one night, and he started kind of bemoaning coffee beers a little bit. And it surprised me because I thought he would have been very proud that their coffees from Intelligentsia were in these two iconic beers. But his personal impression of them was that they were just kind of fine, that they tasted like coffee, it tasted like good coffee, but it didn't necessarily show off the coffee in any unique way. And that's when we realized that most coffee beers were being made with coffee for the coffee flavor, as in a generic sense. They wanted that roast and a little bit of that espresso flavor, and that's kind of what they were searching for. But we thought that if we could get brewers to think about coffee as an ingredient, much the same way they do hops, they might start to think about the attributes or the characteristics and the techniques of using that ingredient, and that would inspire them to do a million different things than just putting it in a dark, heavy, roasty stout or a porter or things like that. And it worked. Yeah. They really seemed to click for them when we talked about it through the lens of hops, because hops used to be thought about as just bitterness in a beer. And then it evolved, and hoppiness became sort of like a sought-after thing, and hoppiness started to transform the lexicon of how we describe beers into citrus and earths and resin and pine and melon and things like that became associated with hops. So the more we connected it to the journey of a brewer with hops, the more they understood that, coffee is an agricultural ingredient with expression as well, and we should be building beer recipes around the coffee to show that off, rather than just dumping it in and hoping it tastes coffee-like.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. I think we've come a long way in is it 5 years that you guys have been?
Yeah, thereabouts, yeah.
It's quite intense. Tell us about some of the other more esoteric sort of events you do. The Campfire Sing-Along was one of them I saw.
That's right, yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was a disaster of a great event. We decided, one of my friends is a phenomenal vocalist and piano player, and there was a piano bar in town that we loved, and we convinced them to let us do a Campfire Sing-Along with all smoked beers on tap. And I think we had probably 3/4 of a keg of every single one of them left at the end of the night, because you can only drink so many smoked beers before you're like, I've had my fill, I'll take a Pilsner. But people loved the theme, and we had a great time. But in terms of drinking the beer, it was a little slower than maybe we should have recognized immediately.
Of the 15 or so brews at the event, there were many interesting stories and collaborations. Now, personally, some of my favourites were those collaborations between Brew by Numbers and Round Hill Roastery. This was also one of the first beers to run out on the day, which apparently is quite an honour. Secondly, the 5 Points Brewing Company and Dark Arts Coffee take on barley wine, which was also pretty fantastic, but also quite intense. The other one was Siren Craft Brew's Coffee Sour with Hibiscus, using Quarter Horse's Costa Rican Cerro Dragon. Again, also one of the ones that run out before the end of the session. While we were there, we also bumped into Johnny and Brad from the Craft Beer channel and Matt Ho from Craving Coffee, and we had a quick chat with them and asked them what their favourites were.
I'm Phil, editor of Caffeine Magazine. Just been really enjoying myself at Uppers and Downers. Particularly enjoyed Caravan's coffee beer, which was, seemed to be entirely brewed during using waste products, which was like slightly off-putting but amazing tasting. They used some kind of a waste extract from the brewing process of the malts to brew with, and then they used leftover coffee from creating the Niners, and orange peel kind of was thrown away, and bread, stale bread, and created this kind of breakfast beer that was super light and would be incredible with your late breakfast on a weekend morning on a sunny day, and you know, you can just drink this light beer and be super refreshed. Lots of orangey flavours.
So I'm Johnny. I run a YouTube channel all about great beer called the Craft Beer Channel, and my favourite was this beauty, which is called Breakfast Shakers by Siren out in Berkshire, and they specialise in like really unusual approaches to quite traditional beers. So it's technically an imperial stout, I guess, but they've used Hefeweizen yeast, which is from the German style, like that banana clovey kind of hazy beer. So it's got these banana and clove notes on top of. It's got lots of cocoa husks. So it's got a dry coffee roastiness. Dry chocolate roastiness, and then they've added Clemson's coffee.
Right,
Which was they said it was a Brazilian bean, lightly roasted, and it's got lots of spice and kind of cinnamon notes to it that really play off like cinnamon banana. Obviously, a really nice way to pair stuff. And then
like a dessert.
Yeah, basically. I mean, we talk about these. They call them sort of pastry stouts. That's the style, but it's more like a breakfast thing. It's inspired by. It's called Breakfast Shakers. One of the brewers makes this every morning. Banana, oats, coffee, and chocolate. Blends it all up and has that before he brews. So they thought they'd brew a beer.
Go for those flavours.
Yeah, and it's so delicious. I spilled half of it over me.
Hi, I'm Matt. I run a coffee shop in Tottenham called Craving Coffee. I've come down today because I know a lot of people who work in beer, I know a lot of people who work in coffee through my time in both industries. So it's hard to pick a favourite, really. This beer I'm really enjoying. This is a beer that's been produced by Dark Arts Coffee Roasters and 5 Points Brewing Company. Well, the beer's been aged in Pinot Noir barrels. This is a barley wine using some Brettanomyces.
Brettanomyces, yeah.
Is that the pronunciation?
Brettanomyces.
Which I'm quite enjoying the sourness. It's kind of really nice.
If it sounds good, you know it's going to taste good.
But really getting some of that Pinot Noir kind of flavours as well. But yeah, great day.
That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoy these videos. Give us a thumbs up and click that bell icon to get notifications of when we upload next. Last week's video is just down over there, and check out more of what we're up to on @CaffeineMag on all of the socials. And remember, great coffees for everyone, and we'll see you next time on The Caffeine Show.